My name is Colin Hastings. I'm the Executive Director of the Pasco Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for attending tonight's banquet, honoring the leaders in our agriculture community. Just in case you're questioning why you're here and what your profession may be, a couple of items to remind you why you may be a farmer. You might be a farmer if your dog rides in your truck more than your wife. You have driven off the road while examining your neighbor's crops. You have borrowed gravel from the county road to fill potholes in your driveway. You never throw away a 5-gallon bucket, right? Over 50% of your wardrobe came from feed or seed dealers. Which kind of reminds me, I don't recognize half the farmers here tonight because they're not wearing a hat. Everybody looks good tonight, so very good. And finally, you might be a farmer if you refer to farms by who owned them 50 or more years ago. Thank you. Well, moving along. Before we pledge allegiance to this great country of ours, I'd like to thank the Pasco Chamber Board of Directors, staff, Monica Diaz, and the Ag Hall of Fame Committee for their commitment and continuation to making this such a great event and to recognizing our agriculture leaders. If you'll join me right now so we can stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may have a seat. Next, I'd like to welcome Gary Middleton, our chair of the Ag Hall of Fame Committee, to give the invocation. And enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Tonight I have the pleasure of introducing before our invocation is our Miss Teen Rodeo Washington, Maggie Little, and her mom Rachel, who's over there, who was very instrumental in helping tie all those twines around those chairs. Fine young lady. Now we'll do the invocation. Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, tonight we thank you for the opportunity to come together as a community to acknowledge your gifts and recognize the individuals who have improved our region through volunteerism, leadership, and compassion. All of these gifts come from your kingdom and grace. Please bless those less fortunate, Father, and guide each of us to do your will. We thank you for this time of fellowship and ask that you bless this food for which we are about to receive. In your precious name, Lord, amen. At this time, as the program continues, let us pause here to remember those inductees who have paved the way before us and are now legends in the Agricultural Hall of Fame. Though many of the pioneers are no longer with us, we still honor them and their families, revere them for their remarkable footprints in time. Okay, at this time, we will start our dinner and start our program. Welcome to the 2012 Annual Ag Hall of Fame Gala and Induction Ceremony. The Agricultural Hall of Fame was formed in 2000 to recognize and honor those individuals who have made significant contributions to the agricultural community throughout the Mid-Columbia region, and this event would not be possible without all the hard work of the dedicated individuals who have spent nearly a year in preparation of this fine event this evening. At this time, I would like to give special recognition to our title sponsor, the Port of Pasco, who helped inspire and carry the Ag Hall of Fame vision for the past 12 years. I am now honored to introduce an individual who has participated in the remarkable growth of the Ag Hall of Fame. He understands the importance of agriculture in the Mid-Columbia and is best known for his dedication to the economic development of the Port of Pasco as its executive director. Please welcome to the podium our MC for the evening, Mr. Jim Toomey.
There you are. Thank you, sir. Thanks, Gary. Gary, thank you. Many thanks to you for your chairmanship over these past few years. And I think Ed Bray and I were discussing, I believe that you volunteered for another year. Is that correct? A bit of laughter from Gary. This event has grown in both stature and attendance at direct proportion to the effort that is put in by the committee members. And many thanks to Gary and his committee for making this event as successful as it is tonight. I was here quite a few years ago when there were approximately 50 to 60 people in the audience. We didn't have a slideshow. We certainly didn't have lights like this. So it's a bit more intimidating. I don't necessarily thank you for that. But certainly, we appreciate the efforts of the committee and the chamber staff for making this event what it is today. I'd also like to add my note of thanks to the 10th Avenue Singers. That's always a pleasure to hear them. There's nothing better, in my opinion, nothing better than young voices and live performance. So many, many thanks to the 10th Avenue Singers for their performance tonight. I do stand up here, and many thanks to Gary for thanking me for my efforts, but I need to tell you that the Port of Pasco has been engaged in this event since the very beginning because of the leadership and the commitment of my three commissioners. Those commissioners, two of them are in the audience tonight, and I'd like to introduce Commissioner Jim Clinworth, one of the original members of the Ag Hall of Fame Committee, and Commissioner Ernie Boston. Newly elected Commissioner Ron Ryman, I believe, is with his grandkids in Disneyland, so he was unable to make it tonight. Ron is also a previous recipient of recognition by the Ag Hall of Fame. The committee has a great evening and speaker lined out for you tonight, so we ask you to sit back, enjoy the dinner, and enjoy the stories of the new inductees. I hope you noticed in your programs and in the slideshow as you were entering in the event, the venue tonight, an artist rendering of a proposed traveling display that will be recognizing Ag Hall of Fame inductees. The concluding items on the program tonight will tell you more about these exciting plans and possibilities, as well as recognize two students who have played a key role in initiating the awareness for all of those efforts. Again, at the end of the program, more will be discussed. In the past decade that this Ag Hall of Fame event has been in existence, they have recognized nearly 40 deserving farmers, ranchers, and community members. The candidates for this prestigious award are all evaluated on numerous factors. First and foremost has been their contribution to the improvement of agricultural practices. Equally important is that they must also stand out among their peers. Stand out among their peers for their involvement and contribution to their community. In recent years, the committee felt it was important to expand the categories of recognition that would be presented here at this event. This was done in order to fully honor agriculture and its growing influence and importance, and to recognize its role and challenges in an ever-evolving world economy. The Agriculture Hall of Fame now recognizes the Agribusiness Person of the Year, the Agribusiness Advisor of the Year, and the Revered Visionary Award. These, along with the long-standing Pioneer Award that have been here since its existence, now enable recognition of those who have made agriculture what it is today, those that are part of the incredible network that enable agriculture to be successful, and those who are ensuring that agriculture will be a dynamic industry into the future. Although the committee could only choose one recipient for each category, I pass along from them that there has been no shortage of qualified and exceptional nominees. Before we get to the introduction of this year's speaker and the Ag Hall of Fame recipients, I would like to introduce and thank our many, many sponsors. As I call out the sponsor's name and introduce their representative, I would ask that your representative please stand at your table to be recognized. I would ask that the audience hold your applause until the end. Our sponsor for this year's Visionary Award is RDO Equipment. Representing RDO Equipment is Davin Peterson, General Manager of Northwest Ag for RDO Equipment. Sponsor for this year's speaker is the Bank Real. Representing Bank Real is the Chairman of the Board and CEO, Mr. Dennis Gigi. And there's a young Gigi that's a rap star. Is any relationship there, Dennis? None? Okay. People may wonder why I know that, but sponsors for this year's Agriculture Pioneer Award is American West Bank. Representing America West Bank tonight is Mr. Greg Franklin, Commercial Relationship Manager. Sponsor for this year's Agriculture Advisory Leadership Award is Monterolo Hay, represented by Dave Monterolo, owner. Sponsor for this year's Young Agribusiness Person of the Year Award is the Wilbur Ellis Company. Representing Wilbur Ellis tonight is Mr. Brandon Brook, Columbia Area Sales Manager. This year's program sponsor is the Tippett Company, represented by none other than Bob Tippett. And last but not least is our heritage sponsor, Conover Insurance, represented by Ed Ray and his associates. We're pleased to announce and introduce our speaker this evening, Mr. Dan Newhouse. Dan was appointed the director of the Washington State Department of Agriculture by Governor Chris Gregoire in 2009. Dan and his wife Carol operate a 600-acre farm from near Sunnyside where they grow hops, tree fruit, grapes, and alfalfa. As director of the Department of Agriculture, Dan oversees an agency, and obviously this audience knows this quite well, but Dan operates and oversees an agency responsible for animal health, plant inspection, food safety, fruit and grain inspection and certification, and marketing the state's agricultural products regionally and internationally. And I don't hesitate to add here, he is also a major advocate for agriculture inside the governor's cabinet. Prior to serving in his current capacity, Dan was elected 4 times to the state legislature and served from 2003 until 2009. He is past president of both the Hop Growers of Washington and the Hop Growers of America. Dan has a Bachelor of Science degree in Agriculture Economics from Washington State University and is a graduate of the prestigious Washington Agriculture and Forestry Leadership Program. Dan and Carol have 2 adult children, Devin and Jensina, excuse me. Please welcome Mr. Dan Newhouse.
Oh, those are bright lights. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Well, good evening. Good evening. I really thank you. I'm honored to be asked to be here with you tonight. I can't think of a better venue to honor those people that have contributed to our industry than in the Columbia Basin. It's good to be on this side of the mountains, too, in a place where people appreciate the agricultural industry. I feel like I'm among friends, people that understand each other, and just to prove that, I think I got 100% on the test that Colin handed out, especially the dog part. My wife would attest to that. Wasn't sitting here, I get a little choked up watching things like whenever we have young people performing publicly like that. Didn't you enjoy that? That was just great. I know they can't hear us, but let's give them one more hand. I even noticed, you probably did too, there was at least one FFA jacket in the group. So that's a good thing, right? They didn't offer singing in ag when I was in high school. At least they didn't tell me about it. That was probably the key. Like I said, it's an honor for me to be here with you because this event, what you're doing here tonight, matches exactly with one of the goals, the objectives that I have as being the Director of Agriculture. And let me just say real quickly, I feel it's a little bit like I already told her this, my teacher looking over my shoulder with Valora here in the crowd. She, as you know, was my immediate predecessor and left very, very big shoes to fill at the Department of Agriculture. So good to see you, Valora. But one of my goals has been to reconnect the public with our industry. As you know, times have changed a lot over the last, well, since our grandparents were farming in this area. The percentage of the population in the state of Washington is quite small that's involved in the agricultural industry. I'm reminded of that every day on the west side of the state, that lack of understanding of what it is that you folks do every day and that we depend on for our daily living. So to me, having a greater understanding on our urban neighbors' part of what it is that we do and why we need to continue to be successful at it, this is a perfect thing in order to highlight our industry. So congratulations to all of you for doing this. You know, I could say an awful lot about farming. As you heard, I'm a farmer myself, and it's part of, I think it's part of me. But farming is so important to our state in just so many ways. It certainly is a huge part of our culture and our heritage in just about every community in this state, wouldn't you say? Not just the Tri-Cities, but all over the state. Even the city of Seattle, agriculture plays a huge role in their culture and their economy, even though they don't even know that. Most folks don't appreciate that. But it's a way of life. It's certainly something that we contribute an awful lot, not only to our economy, but to our beautiful landscape throughout the state. You know, that's one of the benefits of being the Director of Agriculture in the state of Washington. I get to travel to every corner of the state. It would be great to be able to take all of you along with me on those trips. We truly have an amazing agricultural state, from one corner to the other. It's different. It's as diverse as any state in the country, but it certainly is something to be very, very proud of. You know, I think our urban neighbors are getting the message. Have any of you ever been to a farmer's market? Maybe some of you actually have sold at farmers markets. When I go to farmers markets on the west side and people find out that you're a farmer, there's a genuine interest in you as a person. You're almost a rock star in those crowds. You really are. People have a tremendous interest in our industry, where their food comes from, and they want to meet the people that produce that food. So that's really kind of neat. And so the function that we're at tonight is perfect timing, I think, to be able to capitalize on the kinds of things that are happening out there, that people have an interest and a hunger, literally a hunger for what we produce and knowing about what we produce. So we need to continue to tell that story. I accepted my position, actually, at the Department of Agriculture for that very reason, so that I could help tell the story of Washington agriculture. And I think that's something that has been very well taken. Most of the people, I got to tell you, in the government in the state of Washington don't understand. I could count on one hand and still have fingers left over the number of farmers that are in the legislature in the state of Washington today. So there's a story that needs to continually be told about our industry And that's a very important story, let me tell you. One of the main reasons, I think, why agriculture continues to be so successful is that we've continued to invest in our future. We've made commitments to agricultural research, to educational facilities, institutions, new technologies, trying to keep agriculture and farming practices innovative and cutting edge. So I like to think it's people like Rich, who's being pointed out tonight as someone who has led us in that direction. The things that you've done with Columbia Basin College are tremendous, and thank you for bringing a focus back to that school for our industry. We appreciate that. You know, I mentioned the legislature. There's something going on right now that I'm sure all of you are aware, and that's a legislative session. The folks in Olympia are wrestling with some pretty tough questions. Our budget at the Department of Agriculture is part of those discussions. As you know, the legislature met in December and reduced the state budget by almost $500 million, which was just a small part of the problem. They continue to look for solutions to balance our state's books. So we are seeing an awful lot of pressure on the programs that we provide to the industry. The good news is that through efforts of folks like yourselves, that story that I was talking about is being received well. I think for the most part, the legislature understands and appreciates our industry. There are many things that they need to understand, though. And let me just talk a little bit about that. Did you know that our industry is fully 12% of our state's economic picture? We are equal to the aerospace industry in the state of Washington as far as the impact economically. There's over 160,000 people that are employed by our industry. And in this recessionary time that I hope I can say that we're coming out of, the job picture in agriculture has been stable. We're one of the few segments of the economy that can say that. We've actually added jobs in the agricultural sector. But we produce almost 300 crops in the state of Washington. Economic activity is measured upwards of $40 billion to the state. So that's a tremendous picture that I think that legislators are beginning to see and understand. But as far as an agency is concerned, we have lost some things. Laura would know our domestic marketing program is no longer. We lost our ability to work with small farmers to find markets for their products. I'm concerned. I'm nervous about our international marketing efforts. And Chris Voigt, there with the Potato Commission, and several of the potato growers here know how important that has been. Jarrett and I, along with some other folks, traveled to Asia and firsthand saw the importance of international marketing, the efforts that we have provided to our customers overseas. I'm concerned that our efforts are going to be, at least from the agency's standpoint, reduced or eliminated as we compete for those scarce tax dollars, which would be, I think, a step backward as we continue to try to drive the economy in the state of Washington. The governor understands that. She has instituted her export initiative, setting some pretty high goals for us, kind of in line with the federal export initiative. By 2015, our goal is to deliver $300 million in assisted sales through the Department of Agriculture, helping at least 1,000 new farmers and farm businesses export. Those are tremendous goals, but ones that I think we can achieve if we continue to be able to put money and invest into our marketing programs. Another tremendously important issue to the continuing success of the agricultural industry is the whole issue surrounding agricultural labor. And we're kind of at the epicenter of that issue right here in the Tri-Cities. As you know, the state of Washington is a tremendously labor-intensive state when it comes to agriculture. We depend on a migrant workforce. And with the lack of a federal immigration policy, the source of our important labor is at risk. The understanding or lack of understanding on many policymakers' parts is causing our industry grave concern. I think it's time, and I think maybe the stars are aligning, so to speak, for a solution to be found when it comes to agricultural labor policy. We have too much too much at stake in the agricultural world to have our labor force being such a tenuous situation. You know, there's an effort right now in Congress to institute something that's called E-Verify. Probably many of you have heard of that. And it's a controversial thing, one that I could say I think was probably a good idea, but not if it's instituted all by itself. And I think our congressional delegation understands that if E-Verify is instituted without a legal source of agricultural workers, that would be akin to exporting our $8 billion agricultural industry that we have in the state of Washington outside of our borders. So that's a key issue that we're going to need everybody in this room to tell the story to those policymakers that we need to have a workable farm worker program in this country. I know that this last year, many apples were left on the trees as the early frosts that we had this year hit the orchards. I've been told upwards of $40 million worth of fruit were lost because there weren't enough hands to pick it. In fact, the governor, seeing the problem, even, as you probably have heard, allowed inmates to be let out of prison, supervised of course, to help bring in the apple harvest, which demonstrates to me the acuteness of this issue. And I think it's just going to continue to get worse. You know, other states are passing laws impacting workers' interest in traveling throughout the United States, crossing the border, and I can't blame them. Don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating amnesty or citizenship. I think that those are issues that there's already mechanisms for and solutions can be found. But we do need to have a workable agricultural labor program in this country, especially in a state like Washington that is so dependent on migrant workers. There's another issue that's near and dear to my heart, being in the Yakima Valley. As you folks know, in eastern Washington, we have a hard time raising weeds without water. I drove over the pass this morning, and it looks like this coming year is going to be okay. But just over 2 weeks ago, it didn't look that good for us in the Yakima Basin. We've been working hard over the last couple of years to increase the awareness of the problem. With ever recurring droughts in the Yakima Valley, we've had a tough time over the last 10 or 15 years. We now have a plan to move forward with different kinds of storage systems in place that could be in place, different conservation programs, also environmental. Of course, fish have to be considered in the equation. We have been talking with all the congressional delegation, with the Secretary of the Interior, who actually visited Yakima last September, coming forward with solutions on the water problems in the Yakima Basin. Money is an issue there. The federal government, as you know, is having difficulties with finances as well. But we can continue to push the issue because agriculture is so important to our economy, and water is the lifeblood of our industry. Closer to home here in the Odessa sub-area, the state of Washington has made some progress in delivering water to those areas that have been pumping from deep wells, but we've got a long ways to go there as well. With the opening of the Weber siphon this spring, I think we're seeing some concrete steps forward. But again, we need to continue to tell the story of the importance of bringing water into the Columbia Basin. Federal funds there are also going to be an issue. And so the importance of this kind of an issue to federal policymakers cannot be understated. And it's another issue that all of us are going to have to work together to solve. We're not without our issues. All you have to do is go to a coffee shop anywhere in eastern Washington, and you can hear lots of issues that affect producers in the state of Washington. But we've got a lot of solutions too, a lot of resources at our disposal. One of the biggest resources is the people that are in the industry, those people that contribute every day in many different ways, whether they're farmers or not, whether they're involved in agriculture in other ways. They contribute tremendously to the success of our agriculture. One of the bright things, or one of the more fun things, I guess, that I can tell you about tonight, you know, issues tend to be somewhat glum sometimes, but 2013, the year 2013, we at the Department of Agriculture will be celebrating. We're going to have a party, and you're all invited. Washington State Department of Agriculture turns 100 years old in 2013. And as director, I'm hoping to use this as an excuse, so to speak, on not just to celebrate our birthday, but to use it as a platform, as a springboard, so to speak, of celebrating the industry, of really focusing on the accomplishments and the tremendous importance of agriculture in the state of Washington. I want to focus on, just like you're doing here tonight, individual farmers, people that have contributed so much to the industry over the past 100 years. I think that we can look at a lot of different things that would be tremendously interesting, not just to us, the story will be interesting to us, but to also, again, to our urban neighbors that really have to understand what it is that we do for the state of Washington. So I'm asking you to look and pay attention to our asks of you to help us throw this birthday party so that we as an industry can be together, not only celebrate 100 years of agriculture in Washington, but truly make the state understand that we are a very important industry and that we need a lot of things to continue in order for us to continue to be successful. You know, when I was starting farming, not knowing everything that I needed to know, I wished many times that I had a neighbor like Ben and Alma that I could turn to that had good ideas on how to get something done. Maybe then I might have been a little bit more successful in some of the things that I was doing. People like them are tremendously valuable and show us that the kind of leadership and innovation and helping neighbors is truly what this is all about. We're one big family, so to speak. The agricultural industry can really work together, and we can all be successful if we do. Part of what our challenge into the future is attracting that next generation into our industry. You know, I'm inspired when I see the young folks that we're singing in front of us tonight. I truly was. And it always makes me feel confident that the future is bright. And so when Lana reaches out to young people through 4-H and other activities, that's the kind of thing that make our future more secure. Because I don't know how many of you know the average age of a farmer in the state of Washington. Anybody guess? Well, it's just a hair older than me, but it's 57 years old. So many challenges that we face in agriculture are almost insurmountable to young people. But there's a tremendous number of opportunities in agriculture as well. Through CBC, and if I could mention Walla Walla Community College, even YBC, and of course WSU, we have a tremendous amount of opportunities for young people to get involved in our agricultural industry. What I'm told is employers like John Deere, and thanks RDO for being here tonight, our banking industry, technology industries, seed industries, are not able to find enough young people either. There's tremendous opportunities in agriculture, not just in the production end, but all through the industry of agriculture, throughout the state of Washington and throughout the country. So I think if we continue to demonstrate our togetherness, our working together as an agricultural family, and to demonstrate the kinds of things that are possible when we do that, that our success of farmers in the state of Washington will be guaranteed. So my congratulations, heartfelt congratulations to all the inductees into the Hall of Fame tonight. I truly do think that this is the kind of thing is just perfect to put a spotlight on our industry, to demonstrate to the state, the citizens of the state, the importance of agriculture, and then also to encourage young people to get involved in our industry, because truly they are the future. So again, thank you very much for having me tonight. I truly look forward to hearing the stories of the inductees, and it's been great to be able to reconnect with some of the people that I've known over the years. Come to a group like this, like I said, this is just wonderful. A lot of groups that I talk to don't understand the farming language. They don't understand what it is to be a farmer, for one, and just don't understand that agriculture is so important. So I appreciate everything that you do. Thank the committee for inviting me to be here with you. It's certainly been an honor, and I look forward to a wonderful evening. Thank you very much.
If I may, I'd like you to take this gift as a small token of our appreciation for you coming to this side of the state and sharing your thoughts and wisdom with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Watch your step. All right, moving on with our program, we will get into the awards. This year, our sponsors have agreed to present the awards to our recipients, so they will be joining the inductee on stage when the time comes. In addition, and I want the presenters to hear this, we will have some musical reminders for our presenters and award recipients to assist them in the timing of their remarks. Valerie. And it'll probably work just as well as it does at the Academy Awards, so we're going to take our best shot here. Our first award of the evening is the Pioneer Award. This category honors individuals who had a significant influence on the development of agriculture and unselfishly contributed to their community. This award is sponsored by our American West Bank. Honoring our award recipient this evening will be Mr. Greg Franklin, Commercial Relationship Manager at American West Bank. And introducing our award recipient this evening is Miss Valerie Moffett. Valerie?
Jim tells me he has a big hook back here and I got to get with it. Otherwise he's going to drag me off the stage. I'm Valerie Hales Moffett. I'm a Block 15 girl. And Ben Grant likes to remind me that he's known me since I was in diapers. Now you may laugh, but he has known a lot of you since then too. I'm honored tonight to introduce longtime family friends to the Ag Hall of Fame, Ben and Alma Grant. Alma passed away in May, but she was so pleased to know that she and Ben had been nominated. Ben and Alma played important roles, not only in the greatest generation, but in the distinguished class of Columbia Basin Project pioneers. They've made contributions not only here, but across the nation to farm families in the greater ag industry. They've always been honest, kind, determined, and courageous. They've worked hard and lived frugally so that they might give generously to others. Ben and Alma were both born in 1918. They were brought up on farms 30 miles from each other in southwestern Oklahoma. They didn't meet until college. They both graduated from Oklahoma A&M, and Ben has a degree in animal science. He was an ROTC student, and Alma had a degree in business administration and education. They met on a blind date and eloped their senior year of college. They were a team, loyal and true, through 71 years of marriage. Ben is a decorated World War II Army bomber pilot. If you get a chance to see the movie Red Tails, imagine Ben's bomber squadron in the sky. He's really been to Timbuktu and flew 56 missions over North Africa and Sicily. In 1951, when the Grants moved to Block 1, they fully intended to start a purebred cow-calf operation. They had left their self-propelled Massey combine back in Oklahoma and had it for sale. Alma immediately went to work in town, and as is still true of farm wives today, Alma's off-farm wages helped keep the wolf away from the door, as Ben says. Few farmers had the equipment needed to harvest all of the crops grown in Block 1. And with encouragement from neighbor Ray Burden, Ben had his combine shipped to Pasco. Little had he realized the potential of being in the custom combining business. Ben's depth of thrashing knowledge was key to his ability to harvest any crop grown. In 1954, Ben purchased a second combine to keep up with the new acreage being developed here in the Columbia Basin. Alma had to quit her town job because she was needed to drive a truck. She was a whiz at operating the business side of their company. They paid cash for 64 Massey Ferguson combines over 37 years in business. Ben credits Alma with their policy to cancel harvest bills for customers who were facing tragedy or extreme hardship. The Grants had one standard price. It did not matter who the customer was. They didn't turn anyone away. They would salvage crops regardless of condition at no additional cost. They harvested from Pasco to Othello and helped establish someone else to do their custom combining in Benton County. Summer jobs were offered to many students from Oklahoma State University and also from local students. Ben and Alma mentored all of them and encouraged them to get college educations. From the beginning, Ben shared his knowledge and mechanical talents with his neighbors. His combine improvements were noted by the Massey Ferguson Company, which led to a long-term relationship where teams of engineers and new prototype combines would be sent to Pasco for field tests. A series of key improvements designed by Ben greatly reduced grain loss and allowed for increased ground speed during harvest. These innovations became an aftermarket retrofit installed on combines as far away as Australia. The first rotary-style combine was developed in Ben Grant's shop. In 1972, Ben built a barn at Balcom and Moe. This was to house a new top-secret combine that was sent out to Pasco for field tests. This was the largest combine built to date, and it was the first to have air-conditioned cab on it. Ben developed and held a patent for a down corn header that is still in use here today. He developed a self-propelled sweet corn harvester, but he only received royalties on his patents and refused to be paid for his other ideas. Ben's desire was to help provide the best possible equipment and optimize efficiency for his fellow farmers. In 1988, at the age of 70, Ben and Alma were able to retire. They enjoy traveling to see family and attend school and military reunions. As proud Oklahoma State University alumni, and in gratitude for what others had done for them, Ben and Alma Grant have endowed 5 scholarships in the College of Agriculture. Their most recent gift has been matched by other donors and provides student teaching stipends for teachers preparing to go into the classroom to teach agriculture. Please join me in acknowledging the Grant legacy and congratulate Ben on their induction into the Mid-Columbia Ag Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Hi, Ben.
You want me to say anything?
You're sure welcome to if you want to.
No, it's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
Okay.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Just smile and wave.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Glenn, and congratulations, Ben. Valerie indicated that there is more to that story that she would love to share with anybody that is interested. And I think there was some discussion about presenting it to the Franklin County Historical Museum. Is that correct, Valerie? So for the expanded version of that story, Valerie will make sure that it's available. And she has, oh, you have copies with you? Okay. All right. Thank you, Valerie. Again, thank you and congratulations, Ben. Our next presentation is the Ag Mentor Leadership Award. This category recognizes individuals in ag-related youth programs where they have influenced young people through their leadership, guidance, and community involvement. This award is sponsored by Manarola Hay, and honoring our award recipient will be Dave Manarola, President, and introducing our award recipient is Ms. Jennifer Yoakum.
Members of the agricultural community, it is my privilege and honor to introduce Lana Cline, my mother, as the 2011 Mid-Columbia Agricultural Hall of Fame winner for Leadership Mentee of the Year. There are so many things that she has done throughout her agricultural career to impact the younger generation. Her life in the world of agriculture started out when she was young and used to sneak out to ride her dad's horse. She attended CBC, WSU, and graduated from Walla Walla Community College with an Associate of Arts degree. After she graduated, she worked at Advanced Advertising in Pasco, Lamb Weston as a payroll clerk, Connell Grain Growers as a grain and scales clerk, and the 33716 Water Services as a bookkeeper. She married my father, Richard Cline, in 1970, and they farmed for 6 years on the west shore of Scootney Reservoir. They moved to Emmett, Idaho, where they farmed for 3 more years while running a herd of cattle. She started showing pulled Hereford cattle in 1975, traveling the show circuit, Walla Walla Fair, Moses Lake, Yakima, Spokane, and Benton Franklin. In 1975, I was born, and in 1978, they moved to Basin City. They now reside in Pasco after moving in 1988. While in Basin City, she calved out a herd of cattle and lambed over 100 ewes in 1 year. She started traveling the circuit again when I started showing steers and sheep in 4-H. In 1978, she started the Lucky Shamrocks 4-H Club, and her life in the agricultural realm continued to prosper. She served many members through her volunteerism to the 4-H program in the towns of Basin City, Mesa, Connell, Eltopia, etc. She has held many events for members to increase their public speaking skills, record-keeping skills, agricultural knowledge, and ag skills, just to name a few. She was always willing to give of her time to help others. She felt that if she could impact the younger generation through her actions, that they would in turn become positive role models in my community, or our community. Many members that came in contact with her have felt blessed that she was such an influential person in their lives. She has and continues to make an impact on the young people through her continued dedication to youth and agriculture. She was the head leader of Lucky Shamrock's 4-H Club. She started the Young 4-H Ambassadors Club for Benton and Franklin counties, the RAD Club. She was a main leader in the Barnyard Buddies 4-H Club, a project leader in Born in the Barn Club as well. Her Lucky Shamrock's 4-H Club, when she was leader, earned much recognition from Club of the Year twice, numerous President's Awards and State Fair Awards, and she was Franklin County 4-H Leader of the Year. Her commitment to the 4-H program was evident even more when she restarted the Benton Franklin County 4-H camp that is still held in Camp Wooten each year. Many of the trainings, values, and core beliefs that they use at camp came from her efforts. Overall, 30 years of dedication to the 4-H program. She had a great impact in our fairs locally as well. She was a part of the founding committee for the Columbia Basin Junior Livestock Show, which started in 1995. She served for 13 years as the lamb superintendent for the show, retiring in 2007. However, she still pops in every now and then to help out. For our Benton Franklin Fair, she served as superintendent of the Lad and Ladies Lead class, as well as the wool exhibit. She won champion on her scrapbook of the fair at the state competition and served as Rodeo Court Mom Ambassador for 3 years. She was superintendent of the herdsmanship for many years at Adams County Fair as well. Other volunteerism includes helping me with my Findlay FFA chapter at various agricultural events, being a part of the Tri-City Americans Hockey Booster Club. She served on the board there for 3 years and completed 22 scrapbooks for our hockey players. She helped out with the Columbia Basin College rodeo team, was a board of director for the Basin City Park and Rodeo Grounds, as well as a member of Cowboy Campsite. She was a member of the Polled Hereford Cattle Association, Hampshire Sheep Association, Suffolk Sheep Association, and Quarter Horse Association. She spent many hours traveling the roads to and from fairs with the youth as well as her animals. These are only a small samplings of her contribution to youth and agriculture, as the list goes on and on. She once told me that she has many families in her life. She has a 4-H family, a hockey family, a rodeo family, a fair family, and of course, her family. She has walked many miles throughout her life, and though her footprints may have been paved over or plowed under as our agricultural world has evolved, her influence in my life, as well as many others, has touched us and will last forever in our hearts and minds.
Thank you very much. We're both going to cry. As you can see by all the photos, I have been blessed to work with kids and animals all my life. What more could a person want? And my daughter, she's an ag instructor out at Findlay, and she loves working with her kids. And you can see Dick and I have been blessed with her. And I love being a farmer's wife. There's nothing better than living on a farm, raising kids. It's been a good life. And I would like to thank the Pasco Chamber of Commerce and the Port of Pasco for this honor. And I accept this on behalf of all 4-H leaders, FFA advisors, and volunteers who have helped the youth in their agricultural endeavors. I would like to thank Terry Fleshman for all her work that she's done putting this event on. This is great. Also, I want to thank Jennifer and my friend Chris Gamache, both for nominating for Miss, and Barb Davis. Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you, Dave and Jennifer, and congratulations again to Lana. We haven't lost an inductee yet, but I worry about these steps, so please be careful as you come forward here. Our next award this evening is the Agribusiness Person of the Year. Honorees in this category have displayed exemplary community involvement and have enhanced agribusiness through leadership or technology development. This award tonight is sponsored by the Wilbur Ellis Company. Honoring our award recipient will be Brandon Brook, Columbia Basin Area Manager for the Wilbur Ellis Company. Introducing our award recipient this evening is Mr. Ed Ray.
Good evening. This is probably one of my most pleasant things I've ever had to do, is to talk about Jared Balcom. That's an easy thing to do. Good guy. Jared, where you at anyway? Come on and start walking up here so I can talk about you. I want people to see what you look like. Okay, while he's walking up here now, he went to Pasco High School. He was a first baseman, good player, and when you mention Pasco High School, I want to remember, be sure to vote. Pretty important to vote on February 14th. Okay, Jared turned around, was a baseball player, so then he goes into farming. It's, I think, pretty neat. He's the grandson of the founder. Now that's not too often that you have. And so he goes from the competitive playing of baseball to the competitive deal of farming. Now, those of you who don't realize that farming is competitive, it's very competitive. He tells me he has about 50 sheds that he competes against. But with Balcom and Moe, and where are you? Right here where I can see you? Get up here where you can look at you.
I got to stand next to you?
Oh, you bet. See, not only does Balcom and Moe just process potatoes, they raise them. They've got about 3,500 acres, so they raise them. They also have some fruit, so they process, and then they ship. It's interesting to me, what percentage did you say that goes foreign? 40%?
I didn't know this was an interview. I
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's right. 40%, isn't that what you said?
Yeah.
40% is foreign. Now, that's an interesting thing to me, but what's the definition of foreign? It's Canada. Who would ever think that? So Jared, when he talks, he can explain all the problems about going into Canada. But all in all, he's really the all-American boy because he's been successful in business, but more important, he's active in the community. And he's active in his industry, the potato industry. He's been on state boards, he's been on national boards, all this, but then he's also involved in local, the church and chamber, the local potatoes, all that stuff. Then they also have fruit. You've got about, what, 10% fruit, I think Balcom and Moe has. But it's, so the reason why that he was chosen is because he is of the young generation that takes a big operation and makes it larger. Now, you tie it into education, he tells me that he could do even more technically, but you don't get enough young people that can run the technical things that are necessary to do it. So he's going to talk on that. That's about a half hour. He's going to talk on that one. So, but all in all, it's very, very good. Good person, good family, good industry. They hire about, I think we talked about 20 permanent, 60 part-time, but the interesting part about his part-time is they're not migrants. They're people who live in our community. In other words, they come back year after year. So I think that's neat. That speaks well for the company, doesn't it? That the people come back. All right, that's enough for me. Now, I think we got 30 minutes for you, Jared, so you take over. So we're so pleased, and he was a unanimous choice in the committee, too. There wasn't any question about it. cream rises to the top. I'm from Washington, and I know what cream rising to the top means. So cream rose to the top, and here's Jared.
So I didn't realize that Ed had written my speech for me, but apparently he had. I had a speech prepared, but I'm not going to pull it out now because it's a little bit different than what Ed had prepared for you. You know, I guess when I got the phone call, it came from Terry, that I had won this award. I kept telling her, I said, I think you got the wrong person. I think you got the wrong person. She goes, no, you're Jared. And I said, yeah. And she goes, you've won this award. And I'm thinking to myself, I really think you have the wrong person. And because I'm thinking to myself, it should be somebody older and you know, kind of like Randy Mullen, you know, nearing 60, something like that. But she told me it was Young Businessman of the Year, so I kind of said, oh, okay, I'll accept that. You know, listening to everything that's gone on today, I was very humbled. I'm very humbled by this award, and I've learned that this is really not my award. I was very fortunate growing up. There was a lot of leaders that were in my life. I had very, very, try not to choke up, very, very great parents. My mom, Kathy, my dad, Maury. They just set a great foundation for me. And, you know, I just had great people that were around me growing up that kind of taught me the rights and wrongs. You know, they would kind of push me where I needed to be pushed. And so I was very, very fortunate. And our company was very fortunate because we've been around for a long time. We have phenomenal people that work for us. We have people that have worked for us for 30, 35 years, and they're still there today. We have some of our people here tonight, and they've been so supportive through this, and it's because of them. It's not because of me. So I am just so thankful. I was lucky. You know, I was in the right place at the right time. And had people around me that just kind of supported me and did it. And when I got the award, I tried to figure out, all right, who set me up? And so I, you know, asked, you know, who wrote the letters of recommendation? And I got the list of letters of recommendation, and it's people that I work with throughout the whole industry every day. I haven't read those letters of recommendation, but just the fact that those people recommended me is phenomenal. I just feel honored. I would, you know, I've got them sitting at the table, Lynn Olson Sr., Rick Weigel, Chris Voigt, Ed Schneider, who's not here, Randy Mullen, who's a friend, and I try to tease every chance that I get, but, you know, I'm going to miss a few of them, so I apologize for that, but it was just phenomenal. I'm just humbled by the fact that they did that for me, so I just thank you guys for this. And just appreciate everything. So thank you very much. Oh, wait. Almost screwed up. Most important, thankful that I have. And I didn't pull out my list, and that's what's got me screwed up. I've got it in bold twice, is my wife, Kelly. I will guarantee you, without her, I would not be half the person that I am. I have 2 wonderful children, and it's all because of her and the support that she gives me. So thank you very much.
Sure, I needed to ask, who was that young woman in the photographs with you? Thank you, Ed and Dave, and again, congratulations to Jared. Our next award this evening is the Visionary Award. The Ag Hall of Fame Committee nominates and chooses an individual for this special award. It is conferred on a person who has had an extraordinary impact on agriculture in our region. This award tonight is sponsored by RDO Equipment. Honoring our recipient this evening is Davin Peterson, who is the General Manager of Northwest Ag Region for RDO. Introducing our award recipient is my favorite introducer, Miss Lisa Toomey.
Good evening. It is an honor and a privilege to introduce the recipient of the 2012 Ag Hall of Fame Visionary Award, Dr. Richard Cummins, from the president of Columbia Basin College. I became acquainted with Rich in the fall of 2005 when he began an aggressive campaign within the college to create an agriculture outreach position. There was no money for the job, but Rich is a tenacious and creative person, and in late March of 2006, I was hired to work with him to redesign and rebuild what later became known as CBC Ag. From the beginning, Rich was passionate in his commitment to reach out to the agriculture community, to listen to what the industry had to say, and to deliver a program that would prepare a new generation of agriculture professionals here in the Columbia Basin. After a series of interviews and meetings, a program was developed focused on 3 initiatives: education, research, and outreach. The development and delivery of a transfer degree program became the centerpiece of CBC Ag. Rich worked with WSU in both Pullman and the Tri-Cities to enable 100 and 200 level classes from WSU to be taught at CBC, preparing students for transfer and completion of undergraduate degrees in a variety of degree programs in production agriculture. At the same time, he hired Dr. William Woodward from WSU Extension in Franklin County to bring the CBC farm back to life and to begin research that would directly benefit local farmers. Additionally, he authorized the hiring of a new agriculture instructor, Karen Moulton, a graduate of WSU with a master's in agriculture education, to work on curriculum development. In the fall of 2007, the first crop of students began the 2-year program. In the fall of 2010, CBC Ag was named the best post-secondary agriculture education program in Washington State and in the Western United States. Karen Moulton was sent to the national conference and came back with a brand new Toyota Tundra. However, it was in 2011 when Rich's vision really paid off. The first undergraduates completed their degrees from both WSU Pullman and Oregon State University in La Grande. All those students are currently working in the Columbia Basin with another 80 in the pipeline. Rich has worked tirelessly with agriculture leaders to fund scholarships, enabling an affordable education that doesn't end in a mountain of debt. He also supported the creation of internships so that CBC Ag students would acquire practical on-the-job experience. Students in the Ag program have been sponsored by the Cox Endowment, Agri-Northwest, the McGregor Company, Sun Heaven Farms, Monsanto, Herman Northwest, ConAgra, Gant Farms, Mercer Canyons, Wyckoff Farms, Pasco New Holland, NAP, Columbia River Seed, the Benton and Franklin County Farm Bureaus, Syngenta, Pioneer, R.E. Powell, Wilbur Ellis, River Point Farms, Ag Management, the Port of Pasco, Yokes in Pasco, the PNVA, the Potato Commission, the Hay Growers, the Turf Grass Commission, and WAG, and many, many others. Since the program's inception in early 2006, $1 million has been donated by the agriculture community in the form of underwriting scholarships, internships, short courses, conferences, workshops, equipment, seed, chemicals, and fertilizer. Governor Gregoire, former WSDA Director Valora Loveland, Congressman Doc Hastings, Washington State Senators Hewitt, Schessler, and Holmquist Newbury visited the campus to learn more about the model of education that Rich developed and delivered for the agriculture industry. However, in the fall of 2008, the world changed. Rich was faced with monumental budget cuts and gut-wrenching decisions about what programs to eliminate. And the cuts just kept on coming. Through it all, Rich has protected CBC Ag. Why? Because he is a man of deep conviction. He made a promise in 2006, and he is a man who lives up to his promises. As Rich became more and more engaged in the agriculture industry, he learned that agriculture is the backbone of the U.S. economy and fundamental in assuring our community, state, and nation's continued growth and stability in an unstable global marketplace. Today, CBC Ag is vibrant and healthy. This fall, the college had the best enrollments ever. We have one person to thank for his devotion, for his willingness to do the right thing, and for a gift to agriculture in the Columbia Basin that will reap benefits for generations to come. Please join me in honoring Dr. Richard Cummins.
Thank you very much. As is common with Lisa, she did most of my work for me. So I think, I just want to say that I'm very grateful to be up here and humbled and honored to be on the same stage with the Grants and Balcoms and Clines and the 40-some other people who have been inducted into the Hall of Fame. But proud to be a part of this community. 100 years ago, 100 years ago, a relative of mine that I didn't know about until after I'd moved to Pasco wrote a letter back to Ohio, where I grew up, based in Pasco, Washington, July, 1903 on the thing. Was a great aunt, and she complained about the heat and the wind, and said it was just a desolate place. And it was 100 in 1903. And this community, you people, your families, you build it into the oasis that it is now. And I'm very glad to be a part of this community. I want to thank the people who made this happen. Anything good that happens is the result of teamwork. And the first thing we decided to do was get outreach going. And Lisa Toomey, whom I call the Blonde Tornado, went out and just started making relationships with literally hundreds of people. And we hired Tim Woodward, and Tim got the farm up and running and started doing research. And Tim's just a great guy, and he has not met a root node nematode that he doesn't like. And then we hired Karen to develop the curriculum and instruct the program, and within a couple of short years, nationally recognized. These are phenomenal people that work at Columbia Basin College, and I'm privileged to know them and to be able to work with them. I'm also grateful for the vision of Charlie and Helen Cox and others who saw that the college should be providing a good ag program. And research that's appropriate to this region. And I am especially grateful to the 45 or 50 people who came to me several years ago and said that the college was doing an awful job. I sat for many meetings, asked questions, took lots and lots of notes, and I learned a lot about this community and about how deep agriculture goes and what this community is truly about. And I don't know if I've talked too much already, but I was living in Tucson and was looking for the next phase of my life, and I ran into a friend of mine. His name is PhD Pat, and we called him PhD Pat because he took 12 years to finish his PhD. And he'd gone off to Globe, Arizona, and I saw him at Christmas. And he was teaching at a high school. He was president of the Historical Society. He was running for dog catcher. He was just a totally different guy. And I said, "What's the deal with you, Pat? You procrastinate, you know." And he said, "Rich, the secret of life is to move to a small town." And we talked about it a lot. And what he was talking about was being in a place small enough to join the community so that your life could have impact. And tonight, when Karen came in, she gave me a card from the students in the program this year, a congratulations card. And that just really warms my heart and makes me feel that my life is valuable and that I'm having impact and adding value to this community. And I really appreciate, again, I'm very grateful to be included in this. Thank you very much.
One thing about being the president of the college, you get your name on the reader board congratulating you. Well done, Rich. Thank you, Lisa and Devin, and again, congratulations to Rich. How about joining me in another round of applause for our Ag Hall of Fame inductees tonight, please. All right, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, there's a couple of items here at the end that we're actually going to join together. Over the years, in addition to the selection of inductees into the Ag Hall of Fame, the committee has had a number of long-standing, long-term goals. Included in these is to find a more permanent home for the Ag Hall of Fame, to participate in a more active agricultural outreach program, as Dan indicated earlier, and to foster and encourage the involvement of our youth in the agricultural industry. In the recent past, with the support of some incredible sponsors, a scholarship program has been initiated to reach out and support those in high school who have an interest in agriculture, and those awards and recognition will be made in a moment. I would ask committee member Terry Fleischman to come forward, and Terry will tell you how this year's committee plans to join those three goals of community outreach for the ag industry, a more permanent location for the Ag Hall of Fame, and youth scholarships. Please welcome Terry Fleischman.
Before I start, I think we need to give a round of applause first and foremost to our chef. If you could come up for a second, please. I think the meal was absolutely incredible. If you'll notice, he used, oh my God, pen in my shirt, sorry about that. He used our local produce, our local potatoes, and our local butternut squash, and a ton of other things. So Jonathan, could you please come forward? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I've had the honor to be the chef of 2 Ag Hall of Fames. Last year was my first year, and this will be my second. Was able to really reach out to the local community in terms of the beef, the chicken, the vegetables, and it was a lot of fun working with Shannon from Preston, Terry, yourself, and we look forward to doing it again next year. Thank you very much.
The other person I'd like to announce or recognize is Shannon. Preston, where are you? Shannon, stand up, please. Thank you very much. The Preston family and winery has been supporting this event for I don't know how many years, long before I ever got involved, and we got to enjoy all the great wine. When we did the taste mealing a week or so ago, she brought in a case of wine and I got to take it home. Thank you very much. It was great. I appreciate that. And one more thing I'd like to do is give tribute to Renee from Agape. She's walking through the back. She helped decorate our room today. Thank you to Renee and her staff sitting over in the corner. And then, of course, Dan Burns and his production team in the back have been responsible for the beautiful lighting, the screens, and all the technology that you see going on. It was a little tight tonight, but we got it going. Thank you, Dan. We appreciate you. And of course, Lloyd Swain and his team from Charter, you're going to see a live feed throughout the evening, and that will be available to watch on the Charter channel. We appreciate that. Thank you very much, Lloyd, for coming at the last minute as well. Okay, guys, I got to take my shoes off. They're killing me. Hang on. It's been a long day. Ugh. Okay, I feel better. We are way ahead of schedule. We were supposed to get off at 9:30. I think I'm going to get you out of here before 9 if I can. What I'd like to share with you today is a small vision about what we'd like to do. I've gotten involved with the Ag Hall of Fame just by chance, and I have to tell you, they are the most incredible people I've had the opportunity to work with. They are very humbling, they're very special, and you have made this community what it is today. And what we'd like to do is start to initiate a campaign where we can start to recruit young people into the industry, obviously, and more importantly, the public needs to know more about what goes on here. We have this beautiful Hall of Fame with wonderful plaques, and they're going to be placed in the hallway, one of the major hallways at the administration building at CBC. But in the meantime, those are our original 35. What we'd like to do is design, and Dan, is it up there? I can't tell. It's right behind me, great. What we would like to do is design a mobile display that can honor each of the existing inductees and the future inductees. And the purpose of it is to take it not only to our commodity fairs and conferences and to local venues, but more importantly to get it into the school systems so that our young children can start to appreciate the work that has gone on here and start to develop those curriculums. We're working with a team of people to align our curriculum so that there is this appreciation and perhaps a more desire to get into that industry. And we've got local people here. All of our major sponsors are highly involved, as well as people like Les Schwab and RDO, who have sponsored scholarships with the Real Ag trade conference that was here just not too long ago. And we have 2 young students that participated in a competition. So let's talk about this for a second. When we decided to put a scholarship program together, we wanted to get our young people involved by presenting material that would be relevant to what's happening in the industry. Well, this year, I gave it a little bit of a twist, and part of it was a selfish reason. I've been chartered with helping the Ag Hall of Fame create a campaign to recruit young people into the field. Well, young people like to Twitter and use a lot of social media, Facebook, and so on. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to ask these students to create a campaign, and that will be part of the competition. And so that's what the competition was this year, and we have 2 young students who participated, and through the efforts of RDO and Les Schwab, I'd like to bring those 2 young students up here today so that you can recognize them. They won $1,400 and $1,200 scholarships towards a continued education in the agri-sciences. And if they're here, I'd like to bring them up. We've got Mariah Carey. So much for my notes. We've got Mariah Jolson. Am I saying that correct?
Yes.
Right? Oh boy, it's been a long day. From Kennewick, and also Connor. Am I saying that right? Connor Moore from Pasco High School. If we could give them a big round of applause for their efforts. And I'd like to bring the gentleman up from RDO as well as Les Schwab. I think they'd like to say a few words about their involvement in the scholarship program, and I'll get off the microphone for a second.
I'd just like to say it's great to be here and to have the opportunity to represent Les Schwab and to give this award away tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody knows, but it seemed like there was kind of an underlying theme to tonight's proceedings. It was recruiting the young people into the industry. That's going to be more and more important as those the small family farms, the number of those small family farms are reduced. So the number of young people that have a vested interest in the agriculture industry are also reducing. So getting those young people interested in the industry is going to become more and more important. Having those mentors for those young people growing up, like Lana Cline, who was my 4-H leader in the Lucky Shamrocks. Yeah. So RDO Equipment is proud to sponsor this award and these young people like Connor and Mariah. So join me in congratulating.
Okay, if you'll all take a minute to look in the very back of your program. If you grab your programs, please. You're going to notice that there is a rendition, an artist rendition of our design for a mobile display that we'd like to be able to take around to the various locations within the region. You'll also notice that there's a small pledge card. We're not going to ask you to do anything this evening, although if you'd like to, we'd be happy to take it. And so what's in here is if you're interested in helping us out with this particular endeavor, it's not going to be a small dollar endeavor, and it's going to take us probably a good year to raise the dollars. If you're at all interested in helping us with this project, if you could please fill it out at your leisure, send it into the Pasco Chamber. I'll have a little bucket here walking around this evening. If you want to just grab me, we'll drop it in then. Think about it. We are trying to recruit our young people. We're trying to better educate them about the industry. The Mid-Columbia region is one of the prime areas in the globe in terms of what we're able to perform in terms of growing the number of crops that we do. Not only that, we're not only growing crops, we're growing our youth. There's nothing better than helping those young people learn what a good work ethic is, what it takes to be disciplined, what it takes to accomplish something, and you can really see that when you're growing. Just like we nurture our farms, we need to nurture our children, and hopefully this would be a first step towards making that happen. So we appreciate you being here this evening. Think about a pledge, and you can always call the Pasco Chamber for more information. And more importantly, I appreciate the opportunity to be involved in this. It has been a very humbling experience. Have a great evening, and I think Jim Toomey has some closing words. And we are way ahead of schedule, so I think I get my kudos tonight from Gary Middleton. He said, get him out of here, Terry, before 9:30. I think I did it. Thanks. Thank you. I got your shoes. Thanks, Jim. And my bucket. Yeah. Thank you.
Terry, thank you. And many thanks to RDO and Les Schwab, and congratulations to our award recipients, scholarship award recipients tonight. Well, as Terry indicated, that is our program for this evening. And many thanks to, again, to the Ag Hall of Fame committee members, the Pasco Chamber. This has been an incredible event. I think just visually, it's definitely set the bar much, much higher. I pity the person that has to pull this together for next year. I hope you've enjoyed it. At this point in the program, usually what I like to do is that obviously we had 4 Ag Hall of Fame recipients tonight. In the audience, there are sons, daughters, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, relatives of all kind that are the legacy for the people that are the award recipients tonight. And I'd like to say thank all of you for choosing to be in the agricultural industry. And one more time, a round of applause for our Ag Hall of Fame recipients tonight.